Hey, Doug. It's Dan.
How you doing, man?
Good, man. Excited to talk with you.
Me too. I've been keeping my eye on you guys for several years now, so it's long overdue. I'm really thrilled to speak with you guys, and congrats on Sunburn, the new album too, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I got a little preview of it from the chipster over there. I got a full blast of it. So great stuff, man. Very cool.
He's the man.
Yeah, he is. He's doing fantastic stuff for you guys. So,
Absolutely.
So I got to back up a little bit here. Now, when I first saw you guys, I was very excited about this. I'm from the 70s and 80s, and I got to tell you, the first reaction I had when I saw you guys, it reminded me of the first time I was in a record store and saw the first Poison album. I was like, I wasn't sure what it was, but I thought that looks really cool. It was outrageous for the time. It was like, wow, this is interesting. So I bought it and loved it. And not to say you guys are musically similar to Poison. There's some, but it had that same effect on me. It's like, wow, this is very cool. Now, after I've heard you guys a little bit, I realized you could even go back further, probably into the 70s, glam, what you're doing. And now you've bumped ahead a little bit too. So anyway, yeah. I love what you're doing. The look, everything is point. It's so refreshing, man. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. So I just wanted to get that out of there.
Thank you, man. That's a great compliment. I mean, as you may imagine, we work really hard and are pretty proud about trying to bring back our version of, high energy theatrical rock and roll. So it's great to hear.
Yeah. And I mean, let's look at the elephant in the room here. You guys weren't old enough to be through the first round of it. So how did you just get into this, and how did you decide to take this route?
Yeah, I think as kids, it probably all really started. I remember being in some kind of middle school class, having to do a music project. And when I saw AC/DC and Angus Young in a music video that I stumbled upon, I was like, that's it. It's, no bars hold. I am enamored with rock and roll and all the aspects of it. But through the years, it just became a desire that I had to feed, and between my brother Chad and I, we need to do this ourselves, because I think, as we kind of alluded, the years went on, the musical, timeline progressed, and we were slowly but surely losing that kind of rock and roll that we loved in aspects. And so we were like, well, there's one way to solve that. Let's just do it ourselves. And we basically, we were lucky enough to find the other guys in a few funny ways, and pull the team together over a few years of, being kids and trying to learn what it means to be not only a rock star, but a musician, proper. And it's just been a part of us, really, more than even a childhood dream. It's just who we are, and we live it every day. We walk around in our rock and roll gear. It's a part of the fabric of our lives, and it's just something that makes us really happy to be able to do together. So
it's awesome, man. I mean, I remember specifically going in. Now, this would have been, more like 85, 86, going into the hairdresser, with my hair, and said, I want to look like this. And I'm pretty sure I had a picture of CC DeVille or something like that. And I mean, I had the bleach blonde. I was doing exactly what you were doing, but 30, 40 years ago. And what I can tell you right now is when I watch your videos behind the music and just the way you guys act, it literally reminds me, of those days. It really throws me back to that day, just the way the playfulness and the fun you're having. And I like some modern stuff too, but man, when you see some of these bands, well, actually since the 90s, it's kind of been that way, just miserable. It's like, come on,
Yeah, yeah.
have some fun. Put a
And
smile on my face, you know?
I'm with you. That's what our brand of, rock and roll music is all about is, an escape from your day to day. And, when you think about having a minute to like, shake everything off and enjoy yourself, that's exactly what you want to do. You want to have good, upbeat, fun, high energy. And that's the soundtrack that we're hoping to provide. But I think, to your point too of, our demeanor, it really all comes from a really special aspect of the band that I always talk about and kind of boast about because I'm proud of it and fortunate that it is this way. And it's the fact that the four of us boys live together. And we've been living together like an old school rock band for over 7 years. And I don't know if it's something that I would ever necessarily happen the same way again. It's like lightning in a bottle. And like I said, fortunate for us because it really makes us like a tight family and affords us just a whole different experience that we get to put into our craft by being together.
That's so cool to hear. I mean, that's a band. That's when I think of a band. That's what I think of. Guys who've slugged it out in the garage days and going back to Aerosmith and here in the days they'd spend years together in this crappy old van. And I mean, you either kill each other or you become brothers. I mean,
right.
You're literally with your brother, but everybody becomes brothers and. That's
so true.
That's really the way you got to do it. And then when the music comes out, it's more real. It's you guys. It's not anything else, and that's the beauty of this. Yeah.
And that's what we found too over the years of kind of like honing our craft. Really, Sunburn was a pivotal moment for us, this album, because we finally, we took a little bit more control of our own destinies and matured a little bit. And after the Last American Rock Band came out, we were like, let's not be afraid to truly be ourselves and keep that theme going. And that is kind of seen in like our larger variety of influences that we pulled in and just kind of the fun and freedom we had with making the album, the package, the artwork, the lineup of songs and their design and creativity is like, it was like, we don't need people putting pressure and putting silos around what we're doing. This is our thing. And at the end of the day, we got to be happy about it first and foremost. And if other people like it, good on them. And that's just a benefit.
There is a shift in the sound on this one. It makes now for the probably what you guys are for age wise, it makes sense. It's probably more late 90s, early 2000s influence, but still with your signature sound on it. But there is a little bit of a shift maybe from more 80s into a little bit more of a modern twist on it, I guess. But are you getting what kind of reaction are you getting from that? Are the older fans like, oh, that we don't like this as much, or how have people been so far?
We were a little anxious to see that reaction. To be honest, we haven't seen as much pushback from the older fans. I think like, you had mentioned it, at least from the current fan base, that might be, of some of the older generations. I think that they are used to what becomes the blending pot of Wicked at the end of the day. So they kind of could see the forest through the trees. Mm-hmm. And they understand that, it's either a good and fun song or, that's really what matters at the end of the day. But there has been people who have called that out. And I think that's cool. Cool that people notice some of the evolution. If they didn't notice it, we didn't do our job right at the end of the day.
Yep.
And you're right. Yeah, we are 90s kids. So, we grew up around like the Warped Tour stuff. But, I always hearken it back to like, just like a Cheap Trick, man, like, that's power pop at its finest mixed with hard rock is kind of what I've always personally kind of dreamt of massaging the band's music towards. So, we're just toying around and having fun doing it with our creativity and a little bit more freedom in that area.